How goes it? I'm Pablo. Nothing says I should kick a corpse like taking a look back at modern gaming. A disaster so big, it's the equivalent of getting shot.
Why can't you change? So a couple of months back, I covered the modern gaming industry, a time where every AAA publisher would release a game in the worst state possible, due to either time constraint, poor work environment, or the whole population not giving a fuck about them. And I called it the nightmare of modern gaming. Well, what if I said that today, we're seeing some major improvements. All the games that I talked about are running beautifully, and all the newer games that are coming out are looking great.
Ow, what the fuck?
Yeah, we're fucked. The gaming industry hasn't shown any signs of improvement. Games are still coming out in poor condition, and it's just getting frustrating at this point. And let me make this clear. None of this is the developer's fault. It's all the fault of the higher-ups who keep rushing development and putting out as many titles as they can at such a high price for such poor quality. It almost reminds me of the crash of 1983. This was during the early days of gaming, where all we had back then was just a TV and a joystick. Early game companies thought that it would be a great idea to rush out as many titles as they can, and it would just bleed cash. But all they did was flood the market with poor quality titles at such a high price. And what's happening now? Oversaturation at a high price. Where I draw the line is where companies start charging us so much for so little. Redfall, a giant pile of shit, $70. Star Wars Jedi Survivor. The game launched in a horrible buggy state, $70. And The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. The game is locked at 30 frames a second and is identical to Breath of the Wild graphically. Doesn't matter, fuck you, $70.
But are we really surprised this is happening? At the end of the day, it's all about making money at the expense of everyone else. Games now cost $70, and the fans are getting cult-like with defending their shit game. My main focus today is to look at a few titles and check up on an old one that I talked about last time.
Aw, dude, Payday 3. The third entry to the Payday series, where you and a group of friends rob banks. Payday 2 came out and was a huge success. Everyone who played it loved it. The reason why everyone loved it was solely due to how fun it was, the intensity and the strategy that you need to play this game, and also on top of that, the content. It's been over 10 years and the game has so much content. And during this 10-year gap, what do you think they were doing? Not making Payday 3, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Payday 3 was kind of a mess at launch. The game came out with irregularly scheduled bugs and glitches, but what made the game a complete mess was the fact that you always had to be connected to the internet to play, even for single player. You know, the mode where you play all by yourself with NPCs that also didn't work on launch. You need internet for that. This is a problem. If you're playing by yourself and the servers go down, you'd basically be f***ed for the day. This isn't new to gaming. It's been going on for a while, where games always require you to be online so you can play, even for single player. This is more or less them trying to implement the whole live service aspect into single player games. Their main motivation for this is so they can push microtransactions and battle passes.
What? No.
Speaking of corporate greed, Rockstar. What the fuck is your problem? Now this is at the end of the day a terrible take, but if another company does this, I wouldn't be surprised. So GTA 6 has been getting teased by Rockstar for years, and by the way, we got our first trailer finally. It's only been over 10 years, and guess what? Next year will be GTA 5's 10-year anniversary for PS4 and Xbox One.
Holy fuck, I'm old.
And this game so far looks beautiful. Now this isn't final gameplay, but Rockstar has a pretty good reputation when it comes to showing off gameplay trailers. Go look at the GTA 5 trailer from 2011. No company would ever show this, then or now. But that trailer, dude, holy Christ. A little bit too much ass shaking for my liking, so I couldn't watch this in the break room, but holy fuck, this game looks clean. As it should, because this game was rumored to have a budget between $500 million to $1 billion. Also, real quick, good luck trying to run this game on PC eventually. Hopes and dreams can even run this on the Xbox Series S, but due to the budget and time it's taking, the CEO of Take-Two made one of the most outrageous takes by saying that $70 is too low for a game where you get hundreds of hours of content. To fix that, the CEO thinks that you should either be charged $150 for GTA 6 or any AAA title, or pay $5 an hour like you're basically renting the game.
What the
If I'm being honest, I think the $70 price point is way too high for some of these titles. Just look at Redfall. That game is $70, made by a well-liked studio and published by a major publisher, and plays like a fucking mobile game. The newest Modern Warfare is a complete joke. The game looks the exact same as the last 5 Call of Duty titles, the multiplayer is the exact same as the last one, and on top of that, the multiplayer maps take place on the Warzone maps. How uninspired can you be? But what I think hurts more is when highly anticipated games launch with some missing features. Ah, why are you here? Marvel's Spider-Man 2, one of the most highly anticipated games for the PS5. The sequel to Spider-Man on the PS4, which is still, by the way, to this day, one of my favorite single player games of all time, so I was really excited for 2. I watched every trailer and every piece of gameplay that Sony dropped, and I couldn't wait to get my hands on the sequel. I got my PS5 not too long ago, and a copy of Spider-Man 2 as one of my first titles, and I love this game so much. But why is there no New Game Plus? Why can't you recharge your abilities when you switch between characters, or when you respawn? My health is full, so is my tech, but why not the thing that's most useful to me? Why is the auto-lock system even worse than the last 2 games? And why did they do Miles dirty with some of these suits?
What a fucking waste.
After completing any game ever, you have the option to play it again in New Game Plus, but with all of your upgrades unlocked and on a new difficulty. But I can't do that because there is no New Game Plus in this game. Why? This game has been in development for years and doesn't have the feature that's been in gaming since a long time ago. It's been confirmed that New Game Plus will be coming at the end of 2023, but then they proceeded to delay it again. But why wasn't it here on launch? Either way, it's still an amazing game and I can't recommend it enough, but there still is some bugs and glitches like there is in any other game now. But instead of giving Insomniac shit for leaving out features and patching some bugs, a lot of people are getting mad that there's a same-sex couple in the game for an optional side mission when that has no effect to the overall story. Are you f***ing serious? I beat the game all the way to 100%, and you know what my biggest complaint was? That some of the side missions were f***ing boring. It's 2024. You have got to be better than this.
Genuinely speaking, I hope you get better.
Well, it's been a while, so let's see if you improved or not.
I'm talking about Star Wars.
Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was my first ever taste of the Souls-like genre, and the overall Star Wars series. The game took place between some of the movies and shows, and the fans loved the game and the introduction of Cal Kestis, who at first glance should be plain as a bagel but turned out to be one of the deepest and strongest characters I've ever seen in a story yet. The whole experience is a lot of fun, and I would recommend you playing it even if you don't follow anything Star Wars, because I sure as hell don't. But for how good the game is, it does have some issues. The gameplay can be kinda jank sometimes, blocking and parries aren't always responsive, and a lot of Cal's movement feels very strict. Running and parkour feels very stiff sometimes, with little to no fluidity to them at all. But there's always Jedi Survivor to save the day.
We can't have shit, man.
Jedi Survivor launched as a fucking disaster. Glitches, frame drops, and every single bug you could think of was here. In that launch, it was titled one of the worst performing games of the generation. That is until Redfall took that title and fucking ran. Initially, I didn't buy this game on launch because my PC wouldn't be able to run it. After a whopping 6 months after the game launched and 7 patches later, I finally bought it. And I gotta say, it's an amazing game. They improved almost every single issue I had with Jedi Fallen Order. The running, the parkour, the Jedi movement feels amazing. The combat feels and reacts so much better, and with the new added stances, make for an amazing experience. The gunner and dual wielder are my personal favorites, and on top of that, they even fixed Cal's dumb fucking run. They wanted this game to be good, but EA just had to be EA. Mine and everyone else's biggest complaint was the performance. My frame rate was all over the place. It would juggle between 25 to 50 frames. My game wasn't super glitchy, but since I wore the poncho, it really broke my immersion. During the cutscenes, it would stretch like crazy and be ungodly distracting. Even the hitboxes are still incredibly annoying. And I hate that I'm saying all this because the gameplay and story are amazing, but held back by terrible performance and higher-ups at EA who bitched Respawn into launching the game in this condition.
Can we at least go on a date first before you f*** me so hard? God.
If you're thinking about buying this game, I highly recommend you wait until it's patched out completely, and I'm thinking that's not going to happen for a number of years. I have it on both PC and PS5. I got it on PC first, but then got it on PS5 later because it was on a huge holiday sale at Best Buy, and also it saves about 150 gigs on my computer. But pick at your own risk, because one has a stable frame rate, but more glitches, and the other has no glitches but an unstable frame rate at times.
But all in all, the real question is, are things getting better in gaming?
After taking a look back, I'm really not sure if things are getting better. I'm glad we're starting to hold companies more responsible for the shit they put out, but they just hate us at this point. Baldur's Gate 3 came out and was a groundbreaking title. It was so good, it made developers lash out and call gamers ungrateful when expecting too much out of developers. Do you not want people to buy your products? Super Mario Wonder came out, and since everyone got tired of the same copy and paste 2D game, they actually put some effort into it, and surprise surprise, everyone loved it. That makes me excited for what they have next. Then you have Ubisoft releasing what they called a quadruple A title, being one of the most generic games in the world, for $70. Meanwhile, we have games like Helldivers 2 bringing back PvE to the modern age, and being one of the first games to do live service right. Palworld taking games like Pokemon and survival games and making everyone question why they would even buy a Pokemon game. Then on the other side, we have games like Yakuza Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth charging us $80 for features that should be in the base game that's already $70. We cannot keep letting this happen to us. And I think we need to start giving more companies more shit than they deserve, because instead of getting banger after banger, we're getting shit after ass with an occasional banger. But none of this should even be happening. This is Generation 9 of gaming. These consoles can display graphics that if a 10-year-old me saw, it would blow his fucking mind. Fast forward to now, where these games run like shit. A lot of them have little to no content at launch, no replay value, which eventually leaves them dead and buried, and companies are getting way too greedy when it comes to developing games. They would much rather take years of hard work just to get as many titles out as they can and charge us the high price for it. And the worst part of it all is the price. Every game is $60 to $70 now, and I get it, developing costs a lot of money. That's why they do it, but for God's sakes, stop charging us this much if the game can't even get past the fucking loading screen.
At this point, I give up. I don't think modern gaming is going to get better at all unless we stop buying products entirely, and then maybe they'll get their shit together. Otherwise, they'll just keep shooting themselves in the foot. Speaking of, I looked up what happens if you get shot in 3 vital spots, and it turns out I'm dead.